I don't know how it happened. Metal magic.
I just want to say congratulations first off for Invincible Shield. I always expect quality from Priest, but to the level that it was delivered this time around, I had no idea what was in store, to be honest. After 50 years and now 19 albums, I think at this point you probably know that you don't have to deliver for the fans, but you just continue to do it. And I get the feeling that that's sort of the goal and there's no intentions of slowing down.
Tell you, Adam, thank you so much for those beautiful words. They really mean the world to me. You've said a lot of things that I'm just so I'm just so happy to hear. I don't know how it happened. Metal magic, creativity, chemistry, all of these great words. There's something happening on this record that we as a band are only just kind of being made aware of. Because when you're making music, you don't really think beyond the song. You do your best to put a great song together. Everybody nods their head and says, okay, that's one done. Now where do we go? And then slowly but surely you build an album. And then when you put the sequencing of the songs together, that's when it does start to get really profound, because you do start to feel differently as the songs are running, particularly in the sequence of events. This is Judas Priest, 2024, here's Invincible Shield.
It's been 6 years since the last album, Firepower, and there's a lot that's kind of gone on in the Priest camp. On top of the global pandemic, you've celebrated 50 years, you've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then you fought and beat cancer. Glenn is going through Parkinson's right now, and even Richie had his near fatal heart attack. And it's just, there's so many emotions, I'm sure, swirling around. I'm really curious, A, if that has anything to do with the title, and B, if those emotions sort of work their way into the recording, songwriting, lyrical process.
You're saying some great things, Adam, because there it is. We couldn't really call this anything else but Invincible Shield after those parts of our lives and challenges that we've gone through. But I love this word, a shield. Most people see it as a shield being held up to defend yourself, which is true, because Priest has been defending the faith forever. But it also means you can push forward as well. It's got all these different elements of the Invincible Shield of people that are facing challenges. This band has always loved to kind of take you off on a painkiller and then, run around with the sentinel and the sinner. We love that fantasy and escapism, but we've really gone quite true in the real world sense with a lot of these songs in terms of the messages. That's all gone into the Crown of Horns and Panic Attack and Serpent and the King. And that's my job as a lyricist. Probably one of the most personal set of songs that we've done in living memory.
How have you maintained your vocal cords since essentially the beginning of your career? Because it just seems like age hasn't hit you at all.
I still think that cleaning myself up, staying sober has played a big part. Because I used to really blow my throat out and singing, when I was on high and stuff. All that vanished when I started to live a sober life. But beyond that, I don't know. I mean, the remarkable thing about singing, it's not like a guitar where if you break a string, you can change it, or a drum head or whatever. With the voice, you this is what you've got. And I've always tried to push the limits, like all of us in Priest. I remember that day when I laid down the vocals for Serpent and the King, and I went in and did a few takes, and it was in a different register. It was in an octave down. And we were listening, and I go, "This is great, but it's just not really connecting to the real ferocity of the track, So I said, let me just have a go with what I call the Painkiller voice. I don't even know if I can do it all these years later. And lo and behold, I was able to get the vocals done in maybe an hour or so. I still think I sound like, but that's maybe my worst critic, because I always think I can do better. God, why can't I do better? Why couldn't I have held that note like 1.8 seconds longer?
I think we're all itching to catch a Priest show again. But with that in mind, I'd really like to know if you have any fond memories, whether it's a long-term connection with Canada or like from a particular show, maybe just on a day off.
Firstly, Canada's so unique. It's massive. Not many people live there. The trips and the traveling. I've driven the entire breadth of Canada and it's the most glorious thing. I feel very, very lucky that I've been able to do that, because it's just a beautiful country. We will be coming back. Obviously, we're still putting dates in. It's an extra joy to know you're going to go back and experience that one more time.
For decades, you've been this like massive figurehead and a trailblazer for acceptance. And I'm really curious how acceptance within the heavy metal sphere has sort of differed from, say, when you started to now. Has it been significant?
Yes, and it's broad-based. It's not just in music. It's everywhere. It's in every walk of life. When I was a younger person, particularly, but through the early metal years, yeah, there was a lot of homophobia and pushback and bigotry, and so much so that I really had to hide myself. I had to hide my identity within the band. The whole point of getting from that place of having to hide to now being able to step out and be who you are, particularly in the metal scene, because the metal community loves and takes care of our own. That's the advantage. I used to be terribly lonely because of that cut-off that was part of having to live a double life, you know. So this whole business of being embraced and feeling not alone and feeling, you know, part of a group of people that are all feeling the same way is really, again, special and unique to the metal world.
You embraced your love for Dolly Parton in the last couple of years. You know, not only did you get to perform Jolene with her, but also you recorded a song with her on her Rockstar album. So I just want to know what that was like for you, because that's something that people don't expect, but it worked so well.
I think what that said more than anything else was the humanity of music. Music really shouldn't have any conflict or boundaries. And I applaud Dolly for sending me a note and saying, do you want to sing in my album? I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was mad enough me singing just a couple of words with her on Jolene, and then seeing that picture of me and her go viral around the planet. And I think everybody went, God, this is just mad. It's mad, but it happened and it worked. And I can't thank her enough, not only for giving me the opportunity, but for giving the metal community the opportunity. Nobody pushed it down. Nobody stomped all over it. Nobody kicked it in the head. Everybody went, oh, this is great, you know, Rob and Dolly. I personally probably couldn't have done that like in the late 70s, early 80s. It would have been taboo. You can't do that, you know. Now, music in its purest sense is let's just enjoy it. If you don't like it, turn it off. At this point in my life, in my career as a metal singer, to have that happen now, all these years later, again, it's just mind blowing, and I'm just so very grateful and honoured